Hey guys, this is Unlimited Logic, and a couple of you guys have been requesting for me to show off my game room, to kind of give an update. I know I did an update of one a couple months ago, but people said they wanted to see what's been added to it and what's new, so I figured we'd do it. I only have 10 minutes, so I guess I'll kind of go through this stuff kind of quickly. It's actually a nice day out here in Illinois. It's about 65 degrees. We've been having some cold weather, and all of a sudden we got to warm up, so windows open, so if you hear some stuff in the background, that's the neighbors from outside. So, alright, so let's take a look at some of the stuff we have here. Kind of looking far out from the room, kind of from the entrance here. You can see there's a whole bunch of stuff. Systems, my Saturn kiosk, some games, all sorts of stuff, but let's focus on the systems first, because that's really kind of the heart of the room. Over here we have the Panasonic 3DO. Got that from a buddy at work for an awesome price, and works great. Some good games for it, some not so good games for it, but decent system nonetheless. Here we got my Sega Genesis that's decked out with everything. Sega CD 32X. It's even got a Game Genie in there. It's pretty funny what you can do when you get like the Game Genie and Sonic and Knuckles and a couple other things. You can do a giant stack of cartridges on this thing, just making it look like a behemoth. It's pretty funny. Down here is my two Sega systems, two more Sega systems, the Dreamcast and of course my Japanese Saturn, with the RAM cart, the additional 4 mega RAM, so I can play some of the fighting games and stuff. Awesome system. It's a shame the American version of the Saturn didn't take off like it did in Japan, because there were some great games out there for it. My PlayStation 1. This is modded, so I can play import games and stuff like that. Lots of fun. Sony PlayStation 2. It has the hard drive in the back of it, so if I want to play backup games I can, but it's kind of a pain to get them on there. And usually I only use it for like my official games and stuff like that run kind of slow, because the drive on this is getting pretty beat up. So Famicom, those who don't know what a Famicom is, that is the Japanese equivalent to the NES. So over there it was known as the Family Computer or Famicom. And this has got the normal Famicom unit. And as you can see, the controllers actually come out on the side. They're tethered on, which is kind of a pain. It's a system that's just meant to be played close. And unfortunately with this setup it's kind of tight, because I really don't have a lot of room to stretch it other than hitting the floor, but I got an extra controller in order to make it a little longer so it's at least playable. On the bottom is a Famicom disk system. Now any like battery backup NES games like Zelda, Zelda 2, stuff like that, they didn't have that capability in Japan yet, so they put all their games on floppy disks, and I'll show you those in a second. Super NES, of course, with the Game Genie in it, so I can play Super Famicom games, which is kind of nice. Now, people get freaked out when I use a Game Genie, saying like, oh, you don't play your games, you cheat, and stuff like that. Well, a lot of games I do beat, and a lot of games I have beaten, but any new RPGs and stuff I play for Super NES, I just don't have the time to sit and level up. So what I'll do is I'll pop the Game Genie in, and I'll boost the levels so I can at least get through the game and enjoy the plot and still have some time in the day. My Atari Jaguar, probably my least favorite out of all my systems. I think I got like 18 games for it. I picked this up pretty recently, and the games I found were super cheap, like $2.99 each. So Aliens vs. Predator, hands down the best game on the system. Not too much to say about that. My Special Edition Halo Xbox, which Xbox isn't that old, you guys are pretty familiar with that. Some game systems, my Game Boy. This one, I think this one was my wife's actually. This one's pretty beat up, the cover fell off it. And this one is another one. This we got from our cousin back in Christmas many years ago. Some wireless Atari controllers. This Atari thing is an Atari 2600. My buddy gave this to me with the original dust cover, which is cool. Underneath that, NES and a Nintendo 64, the Donkey Kong edition. A couple of bootleg console games, controllers, the knockoff games and stuff. My supervisor got me those. Thanks, Randy. Those are awesome. As you see, a couple miscellaneous Sony, PlayStation, and Saturn games there. Now that's not it for my systems. If you look, it's kind of hard to see. I have this giant kiosk here. This is an original Sega Saturn kiosk, and this thing is heavy as hell. It weighs about It's 300 pounds. It took 3 of us to get this thing upstairs. I mean, it's solid metal. It does not come apart easily, but as you can see, it kind of glows blue in the middle there, which is pretty cool. And it's got a original American Saturn, only used once or twice. This unit was actually never put into a store and used. And I got this free from Bob at the video game shop, which was pretty cool. And yeah, the system's in there, and it has the reset button and everything. And here is normally 2 Saturn controllers, but I've switched out with the PlayStation and Saturn. And again, this is more of a unit just for display. You can use it as a normal unit, but as I have the Japanese Saturn, I just figured I'd keep it in there to kind of complete the package. Super scope on the top there. Okay, last of my retro systems, GameCube, which I guess is officially retro now. Switch box for my systems, of course. Now this is a Model 1 Sega Genesis with the Sega Genesis Power Base converter, and that's actually for playing Master System games. Master System was the system that came out before the Genesis. Now this beauty here, she looks beat up, but she runs great. The guy got this from repaired everything on it. This is the PC Engine, also known as a TurboGrafx 16. I picked up the TurboGrafx 16 from fellow eBayer in city nearby me, and like the TurboGrafx 16 a little bit. I loved it for Splatterhouse, but that was pretty much it. And then as I kind of researched and looked into it more, the PC Engine seemed to be the way to go, and I got this system for an awesome deal on eBay, and the guy just repaired the crap out of it. So it's like a brand new system. It's a little rough cosmetically, but not bad. But great games on this thing that I've been playing, like Dracula X and a few other things. Highly recommended if you're looking for an awesome retro system. That thing is sweet. The Intellivision. The Intellivision was my first system after the Commodore 64 I had when I was a kid. It was my sister's, and this is obviously not the unit from my childhood. I picked this up. I actually broke my original Intellivision on my sister. I don't know what I was thinking. I was only like 2-3 years old. I took a bunch of coins and I put them in the slot here, and I put coin after coin after coin in there, and my sister was playing a game, and all of a sudden the unit just turned off. Well, she told my dad that the television wasn't working, and when he picked it up, the thing weighed like 20 extra pounds more than it normally did, and he found the coins and everything in there. So they were pretty angry about me putting coins in the system, but I think they were kind of shocked when I told them I thought it would do something if I put coins in it. I guess I thought it was an arcade machine or something when I was a kid. Alright, well, we got like 2.5 minutes here, so I guess we'll go over here to the accessory sides of things. Awesome retro site out there, guys, called Racket Boy. If you've never checked it out, I'll put the link on here, but I got this idea from that. This is a little shoe holder, but I've actually used it on my door to hold controllers. I mean, there's Dreamcast, there's Xbox, Famicom, PlayStation, N64, all sorts of stuff is in here, and it works great for a little storage facility. So I guess we have enough time to go over the games. I'll take you over here for more of the retro stuff first. This is my collection of Super Nintendo games. 130, I want to say. I have more up in this little container here. Some good stuff. A lot of RPGs, Illusion of Gaia, stuff like that. Nintendo games. Hundreds and hundreds of Nintendo games here. Great games here. Game Boy. Virtual Boy. Game Boy Advance. Some more Nintendo games down here. And these are the Nintendo disk system stuff that I was telling you about. That's a floppy disk. It's not a normal deal. So, kind of cool. I didn't realize that it was going to take this long just to talk about the systems. And speaking of which, I also have a Virtual Boy too. That system is like sickness-inducing. It's awesome. Since I'm running out of time here, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video. And I'll start another video, and we'll talk about more of these Nintendo games and stuff in depth. But didn't realize it was going to take this long, so prepare for part 2.